MEC for Human Settlements and Infrastructure Development, Lebogang Maile, has released an investigation report into the loans issued by the Gauteng Partnership Fund. Now, in July 2023, the MEC ordered a probe into loans offered to Nonkwelo Investments, owned by Nceba Nonkwelo, who's the Deputy President Paul Mashatile's son-in-law. Let's get more on the story with SABC News reporter Patricia Fasahi. A very good afternoon to Patricia. Tell us what's happened so far.
Well, good afternoon, and of course to our viewers. Now, following the controversy that's been obviously continuing for years into this funds that were obviously given to the son-in-law of the Deputy President, today we're here at the Gauteng Partnership Fund, where of course the MEC Maile was supposed to give us, or rather did give us, just the findings, the conclusion into this much important investigations. And in short, the investigations found no wrongdoing on the part of course, the Deputy President's son-in-law, no maladministration, in short, no corruption. Now, the MEC Maile is here joining us. Just in short, what have you concluded?
Well, the report has concluded, as you have correctly said, that there was no undue influence and there was no conflict of interest, and that the Deputy President did not influence this process. But also, there was no 37 million that is being mentioned. There's about 7 million plus, which was given as a loan to the son-in-law in his capacity as a developer, as part of an empowerment program that was agreed to in 2010, and he was only a beneficiary in 2013. So that program could not have been designed for him. So some of the allegations that were raised have actually been found to be false. And we are happy because we did not conduct the investigation ourselves. We got a company, I think it's Sheldon Hayes Malachi attorneys, that has done the investigation on our behalf.
The persons who were investigated, who exactly was looked into? Was the Deputy President's son interviewed? Was the Deputy President himself interviewed?
The investigating team was given the terms of reference to look at whether the policies were followed, whether there were procedures, whether the project was justified, whether there was conflict of interest, and they then decided who to interview. So it was not our decision. For instance, they did not interview the Deputy President because I think as in the course of investigation it became clear that he's not implicated. So they made a determination on their own without any influence on our part on who to investigate. By the way, there are certain parts of the report which the management of GPF did not agree with, but we did not communicate those parts. We are communicating what the investigators have given us because we don't want to release the report selectively. We were releasing it as it was presented to us.
There's also a settlement that was reached. Obviously, earlier you highlighted that the monies were not really recuperated, but there were other ways to find balance or to remedy what was done.
Yes, there's a settlement agreement that was entered between the GPF and the developer, Mr. Nonkwelo, in his capacity as a developer. The money that was loaned to him was deployed into the project. So there is money that was done. And I think the GPF would have decided to settle with him after satisfying themselves and realizing that he possibly qualifies for whatever processes and criteria they have in place. But there has been a settlement between the two parties.
What is that settlement? It seems like there's a little bit of not proper, indication as to what exactly that settlement is. How much? Yeah,
well, it's about 7 million plus. I'm not well aware of the content of that because the the investigators did not venture into that. They just picked up the issue that there was a settlement. And I think if the public wants to know, it is in the interest of transparency and accountability. We will not have a problem of divulging that information. But at this point, I don't have it. And I think our entity, the Gauteng Partnership Fund, should be able to make that settlement available and public. Nothing should be hidden from the public.
Of course, you're saying that it was not 30 million as initially reported, about 7 million. Was all that money used prudently?
The money was used into the project. I'm not a competent person to say it was used prudently or not, because the report says that there was a change of scope, for instance, and the report cautions that that should not have happened. The GPF policy allows for change of scope and all that. So I don't want to venture into who's right, who's wrong. What I know is that the money has been disclosed to the AG, the settlement agreement is in place, and it has undergone all the processes. And if there's anyone who wants to review the process, as you know, they are entitled to it, and we are not going to oppose anyone who wants to review whatever process.
Of course, now the report is proving different from what has initially been reported. It clears everyone of wrongdoing. It says there's no corruption, there was no maladministration, no money's disappeared. What do you make of how the story was initially reported? Obviously, it casts doubt on how the GPF money is being used, possibility of corruption, and really just a whole lot of dubious actions. What do you make of everything?
I think it's unfortunate that sometimes the media can deliberately become destructive and become part of agendas against individuals and government institutions without being objective. And this is one such case where a media house deliberately, at least on this matter, despite the fact that once this matter came to light, we were the first to say it must be investigated. They wanted us to conclude the investigation quickly. They wanted us not to follow process. They wanted us to find differently. And we told them, News 24 in this case, that it can't be that you force us to move quickly without following process. Let's give this process a chance. We are also interested in knowing what really transpired. And I'm happy that today we are here releasing the report. And I hope they will also report objectively on the report.
And to those who may not 100% believe the findings in this report, who might say because the Deputy President is your comrade, and obviously that's his son-in-law, there may have been, effort to conceal everything, to protect them. How do you respond to those who are still suspicious of this whole saga as it unfolded?
The investigation was done by Gauteng MEC Maile attorneys. So if there's any wrongdoing, they would have to answer. And I don't think that they will risk their reputation and integrity. I'm a trained lawyer myself, and I know that the Legal Practice Council does not take kind to dishonest behavior. They could be struck off the roll. So as a trained lawyer myself, I know it's just not possible that they will risk their reputation and integrity. And I think anyone who's got doubts can actually contact them and engage them. We are just releasing the report that we have received from a credible, reputable institution that is Gauteng MEC Maile.
All right, thank you so much. Of course, we've also heard from the GPF that have reiterated that following the negative reports that they have received and just the allegations over the period of time, they have tightened up their systems to ensure that the highest of credibility and integrity is upheld.